I've got so much confidence in this group, understanding what is our standard defensively, what is our standard offensively, what's our standard on how we work. Our guys have owned the standard this year, and that's been a huge growth in the individuals, and it's allowed me to kind of take a different approach from a coaching standpoint, to have more of my coaching happen behind closed doors, one-on-one with guys, maybe in our film sessions, so that at the end of the day, when we step on the floor and we're competing for 48 minutes, I want our guys to play free.
What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzly homer, Memphis X, and I Talk Hoops. Today we are talking about my sometime nemesis, Coach Taylor Jenkins, and his impact on the Memphis Grizzlies. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
Piano.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Demorance back and let's go.
Well, I have made it no secret, and it was no secret that I've said it on this channel several times, that Coach Taylor Jenkins was not my first choice as the Grizzlies coach. It was actually the coach, whatever his name is, of the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. He was the guy that I wanted. He's the guy that I was advocating for at the time that they were doing their coaching search. But the Grizzlies hired Taylor Jenkins. Now, the thing about Taylor Jenkins is he has always had the most maddening rotations during the regular season of any coach that I can even remember. He is, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just saying it's maddening, especially to me. He is going to play 10 men regardless of injuries. The Grizzlies could be down 3 starters, and he's still going to play 10 guys in the rotation during the regular season. And he's going to keep the minutes down for the starters down to about the low 30s at best, under 30 for the most part. And throughout the season, it is going to cost the Grizzlies some games. Now, I've always had this beef with Taylor Jenkins, and it has cost the Grizzlies some important games. I can remember in the bubble when the Grizzlies, this was before Jaren Jackson got hurt in the bubble, and the Grizzlies were playing Portland. And if you remember at that time, the Jaren pick and roll was deadly at that time. It was a deadly weapon for the Grizzlies at that time before Jaren got hurt. And in that game, for some inexplicable reason, Coach Taylor Jenkins decided to sit both Jaren and Ja Morant for an extended period of time. And during that time, CJ and Dame got hot, and that game was basically over. And that set the tone for the bubble, in which the Grizzlies eventually, they lost Jaren Jackson, and they kind of lost their momentum and ended up having a terrible bubble and ended up losing out to the Blazers as far as going to the playoffs, even though they had the lead going into the bubble. Now, the thing that we forget about that season before COVID struck is the Grizzlies basically had the inside track to make the playoffs that season. Now, what happened with the bubble is the bubble gave the Blazers a chance, and we got to remember there was no play-in at this time. So when you look back at the schedule of what was left on the schedule, because I remember looking at the schedule, evaluating the schedule, and the Grizzlies had the track for making the playoffs. So that was kind of difficult for me to take. But, it was COVID. So much stuff was going on. I kind of blew it off. But the thing place where I'm at now is I really, really appreciate the consistency of Coach Taylor Jenkins. He is going to do what he's going to do. His message is consistent. It doesn't waver. He doesn't flip-flop. He is a mixture of Pop and Coach Bud, where he is going to do his thing, and he is going to stick by his guns and make it work. And he's going to drill it in his players so strongly what their philosophy is, that it is going to be on automatic. And the only problem with that is that the general manager has to give him the talent and take away the talent that he needs to make it successful. Because if he has the talent, he is going to be successful. He has shown that. Also, he has proven to be a wonderful developer of young talent. I mean, even the players that I thought that were lost. The only player that didn't develop, and he wasn't here more than a season, was the guy that they signed from Europe, the Marco guy. He never developed, but it wasn't for the lack of getting minutes. Jenkins gave him an opportunity, almost to the detriment of the team, but he just proved that he wasn't built for the NBA. He got his payday, went back to Europe. So the thing with Coach Taylor Jenkins is I thought he should have won Coach of the Year the season before. He definitely should have won Coach of the Year last season, as the season overcame Ja Morant injuries, Dillon Brooks injury, to be the second best team in the league is more impressive than a team that was in the NBA Finals having the best record, and they giving a makeup award to Monty Williams. So Coach Taylor Jenkins is proving himself to be one of the better coaches in the NBA. The next step is for him to prove it in the playoffs by having team success, going to the conference finals, the finals, and eventually him winning the championship. I think he's going to get a chance to prove that this year. He is blessed to be having a superstar his entire coaching career. This is something that can never be dismissed with as far as coaches goes. If you look at the better coaches, the coaches with the best reputations as far as being a dominant coach, you can always see that their dominance is usually runs parallel to them having a superstar on their roster. It is no mistake. Teams do not win without superstars at high levels, and coaches do not win without superstars at high levels. It is the NBA. That's just the way it works. So I've had this love-hating relationship with Coach Taylor Jenkins since the time he's been the coach. And it's not because that he's not the coach that I wanted, because I've overcome that little bit of pettiness already. It just has to do with his maddening rotations throughout the regular season. And I'm sure it's not going to change this year. I'm sure he's going to be playing rookies this year when I don't want him to be playing rookies. But I have grown to recognize that his results trump my feelings. His results trump my feelings. I'm not an NBA coach. I am not in the locker room. I do not spend an extraordinary amount of time with these players. I do not know what makes them tick. Coach Taylor Jenkins has proven that he does. He is able to get through to these players no matter the different personalities. And the general manager has done a wonderful job about putting the right players in his locker room so he does not lose control of it. And all he needs to do is get to that championship level, and he will have his culture ingrained and on lock with the Memphis Grizzlies. So guys, let me know what you think about Coach Taylor Jenkins' first few years as a Memphis Grizzlies head coach. He's still one of the youngest coaches in the league. And like some good friends of mine who talk about coaching, coaches need development also. And he's been developing. As you can see, his minutes and stuff has started to tick up for the starters. So he's not beyond improving as a coach. So make sure you comment what you think about Coach Taylor Jenkins' first few years as the Memphis Grizzlies head coach. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I'll be with you tomorrow with the next video.